What's
Hey guys.
going on, everybody? 360 Digital Closing Bell here for a special Oil and Gas Conference 2020 event. We are live on this Zoom webinar from world headquarters here at Entercom down on 17th and Tremont. I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, joined as always by the executive producer of this show, the purveyor of the show, and the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com, Stuart Turley. Stu, how are you doing today?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and the conference is fabulous.
The conference is awesome. We are rolling through. We really appreciate everybody who's joining us. We normally host this show every single day at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, live on YouTube, as I always joke, from an undisclosed location. Today, we're in Entercom's world headquarters. But please, guys, I'd highly recommend checking this show out every single day. We come to you every single day covering what happened in the equity markets, energy equity markets. We're going to cover some of the stories that happened today. And of course, Stu's going to check in on the international news. But first, guys, we also have this show on iTunes. Just subscribe, 360 Digital Closing, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, the best way to stay updated on all of your energy finance stuff. As we roll into the markets today, I mean, really from an overall standpoint, SPY hit all-time highs. I'll say that in quotes, all-time highs, as sort of it's mostly caused by a rally in big tech. SPY closing 33.88. That's about a quarter of a percentage point. But we've reached all-time highs, up 54% since March 23rd, coronavirus lows. That's up, as I mentioned, 54%, led by big tech companies. Stu, it's crazy. We give everybody $1,200. They seem to go buy stuff on Amazon and binge more Netflix. Who would have guessed?
I don't know.
I wouldn't have done. Unbelievable. When we look at sort of the way NASDAQ tech stocks hit an all-time high today at 11,400. That's about a 1% increase. Dow Jones, which is mainly comprised of, we've got a lot of airline stocks are in the Dow Jones. That actually fell about a quarter of a percentage point, down to 27,775. Crude oil didn't have that good of a day, down about a quarter of a percentage point, 42.79. 12-month strip, 44.88. So a little worse, about 0.38 percentage points. Off all of this hot weather, natural gas has seen an absolute spike, trading about 3 weeks ago, somewhere in the low 150s, currently $2.41, up 3.29 percentage points. Great day if you're a natural gas producer. We've heard a lot of them percent here. They got to love these numbers. If you're not hedging natural gas right now, I would consider calling our friends at Aegis Energy Risk. Maybe a good time to do it right now. $3.05 even for 12-month strip on natural gas. That's a full percentage point up on that. XOP, which is our E&P securities contract, 54.75. That's 1.95 percentage points. And OH, which is our oil field services contract, 133.85. That's about 2.5 percentage points on the downside, or about $3.94. On our downside for equities, though, High Point Resources down to 35 cents, 7.85 percentage points drop on the day. Alliance Resource Partners down to $3.47. That's a 9.5 clip on the downside. And Intero Resources Corporation, $3.62, down 17%. Should be presenting in the oil and gas conference because we've got some great companies on the upside here. Contura Energy Inc., 5% increase, $4.75. Great friends of the show. Me and Stu have had an opportunity to interview these guys on our Energy 360 podcast. Silverbow Resource up 6.16 percentage points, $4.31. Abrehas Petroleum Corporation up to 20 cents, our biggest move in the day, 15 percentage points. Guys, as I know, this is a special edition of the 360 Digital Closing Bell here at the Oil and Gas Conference. As I mentioned, we are live on YouTube every single day with this stuff, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Check us out on Entercom's YouTube channel. Stu, what do we have in the international news desk today?
Well, a couple of things, Michael. We've been talking a long time about the Middle East, Mediterranean issues between Turkey, Cyprus, and all the natural gas problems going on. And the natural gas in the Leviathan field in Israel is really coming into another heated battle coming up next week. I hate to put it as a prediction. They're having some disputes. Watch for the news next week on that. Right now, the oil is rising because OPEC Plus is having a meeting, and they are expecting 1.5 million barrels per day of production coming off of the market. So they only did 95% of agreeing on the last one. So we'll wait and see how that one goes. So when you take a look at natural gas being accepted by the green environment as natural gas is going to be a very big topic, folks in California could have listened to that one.
Oh, no doubt. And that Saudi Aramco article, they hit us up about that, didn't they?
They did. I had a Saudi Aramco article out a week ago, and they did hit us up and say that article was good enough. Would you mind linking back to us? So the richest or the biggest oil company in the world?
The world's biggest energy company coming to the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com. Nothing we expect. When we move into the U.S. shale patch, there's a couple things, guys. Chaparral Energy, I joke, filed Chapter 22 bankruptcy, which basically means the second time in a couple years they filed for Chapter 11 protection. This time, Stu entered into a restructuring support agreement, or what's known as an RSA, for $300 million in what's called a debt for equity swap with their bondholders. More than 2/3 of their lenders and bondholders have signed off on a prepackage that will call for lenders to provide $175 million in a reserve-based exit facility and about $35 million in fully backstop new money convertible notes, and they're going to have about $190 million accessible via an RBL loan. 4 years ago, they filed Chaparral filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy at $1.2 billion. So debt holders from that move lose about 70% of the value on that, but they do get all of the new debt for equity. So Chaparral Energies, they are stacked. Or the Oklahoma stack specifically has not been kind for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. That's where the majority of these that we've been seeing have rolled out. Staying along this Chapter 11 bankruptcy sign, this is the first one we've seen that's actually gone what we would call the 363 route. So Lillis Energy is declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy about 2.5 weeks ago. They announced their intention to do that. Varde Partners, who are their full who are their investors right now, have declined as of today to put in new money. So that means they moved to what's called a Chapter 11 363, which means they're selling all their assets. And when we look at on the balance sheet here, they claim 192 million in new equity, which is still lower than the debt they hold. But Stu, do you think they'll get all that cash for it? We will see. It generally works that way. They say in oil and gas properties using full accounting methods, about 175 million. They claim, they have 16,000 acres on their field. The press release comes out and says they're expecting a decent price. But looking at it, they think about 174 million. So I'm pretty sure that's what Varde Partners were looking at when they decided to not put in new money. Hopefully can return some of that capital. In this spot was supposed to be Penn Virginia Corporation presenting, and we actually were able to. This morning they unfortunately had to cancel on us, and we found out why. Penn Virginia, a former CEO now, as of this morning, John Brooks retired, and Darren J. Hankey has been appointed president, CEO, and director. So we thank Penn Virginia for offering to come in and present here. We're sad we weren't able to do it, but it's clear why today with the new CEO. And it was great, Stu. We get to run the closing bell, so I got to love it. The last two things, I guess there's one thing I want to run over before we dive into a little tangent, and that's, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the rolling blackouts that are happening in California right now. As you know, there's been multiple parts of California that have experienced multiple blackouts due to this insane heat wave that has moved all across the West Coast. On August 17th, there's about 1 million customers that could be impacted due to this. That's what the California ISO admitted. And this is what's interesting, Stu. Let me find his name here. Steve Bridrich, on August 17th, he mentioned that 3 months ago, this is a quote from him, we told the California Public Utilities Commission of a 4,700 megawatt need through 2022 and a gap that started in 2020. Despite all of that, only 3,300 megawatts was authorized for procurement, and none starting until 2020. Stu, not good if you're a California. And this is why ESG is so important and why natural gas needs to be in the conversation as the best advancer of ESG, specifically in that E.
All of our oil brethren in the oil and gas field have a responsibility to articulate the ESG story, to explain that oil and gas is going to be here for a long time. And a well-balanced plan will get us through the lowering of everything else. I got to give a shout out to Greg, since this is the 25th anniversary. He types in a question. And Michael, he says, what's Intercom's crude oil price forecast for 2021? We got
honestly, whatever gets us more consulting contracts, Stu. So I don't know. That's like asking me what I'm gonna have for breakfast in 6 months. No idea. I think those questions are best left for some of the experts. We heard from BTU Analytics. We heard from Inveris. We're gonna hear from Rystad tomorrow. But that's asking me what crude's gonna be in 2021. That's like throwing a dart outside this second-story window and hoping it lands exactly where I want. Along this ESG note, as we mentioned, ESG stands for environmental social governance. It's been a big topic here at the Intercom conference. We mentioned these rolling blackouts. There's a real governance issue that I think everybody is becoming aware of that has been happening at Whiting Petroleum. As we know, there's been a complete restructuring. As you know, a couple weeks ago, Whiting went under Chapter 11 bankruptcy. We can say that now. Former CEO Brad Hawley has resigned, receiving a $6.4 million exit package for driving a company into bankruptcy. Great. If really, when it gets over to this governance issue, I think it's one of the most overlooked parts of this whole ESG. I think people take environmental serious, and we've heard that from all of our Canadian brethren who have stepped up and really partnered heavy with both the Indian, their Indian brethren and their neighbors up there, but also the social side of it and making sure that all relevant parties, you're about to hear a conversation tomorrow with Project Air talking about our social license to operate in certain areas, which is, might sound like a scary term to a lot of people, but I think once you sit down and digest it, it really makes you. This G issue, I think, is overlooked a lot, and I think this story with Whiting Petroleum and this large bailout. I mean, you look at Reuters, Wall Street Journal, CNBC, all running articles talking about pretty egregious bonus payout, right? Days before Chapter 11 bankruptcy, $14 million in executive bonuses, paid out 6.4 of that going to CEO Brad Hawley. I would just, I wouldn't be remiss if I say, just Google Brad Hawley, Anadarko, guys, look on the news. We won't spend much time talking about it, but not great government. We are excited to see that management team roll over, specifically Kane Anderson coming in completely sweeping everything. We are excited to see it move forward. But guys, when we talk about ESG, do not forget about the G. It might be at the end, but it's just as important. Stu, are we forgetting anything today? I know it's been a couple days since we've done this.
I don't know, but this conference has been absolutely fabulous, being able to talk to all the CEOs, and we just really appreciate all the sponsors at the conference, and we are going to be in person next year. So this has been a great conference.
Knock on wood, we'll be in person next year, but I do really hope so. We can do this closing bell from the stage. Will be awesome. But I think that, guys, with that, we're going to go ahead and let you guys get out of here and move on to our next presentation. Thank you for letting us come in here and talk to you guys with the 360 Digital Closing Bell. We will see you guys starting Thursday back live on YouTube. We'll see you guys in 5 minutes for the next presentation.